Hi diddly ho and welcome back. We are tackling the how to rust repair your XB coupe if you're lucky enough to have one. If not, like me, you have an XB sedan. Still the same exact repair. We're tackling a incredibly common rust spot. We won't be doing this one today because it's beyond the reaches of the rust repair panel we have. But we'll tackle that another day. But this one, these cars rust here so much it's not even funny. Like everyone has some rust there. We have testing out a new repair panel coming from awesome chap called Howard Astle. He has a business called Astle Designs. I don't think he makes the panels, but he gets them and supplies them. And to be honest, he is, pretty good when it comes to these cars. And he has a pretty damn good range and selection of rust repair panels that are of far better than another panel supplier that I won't mention. Here, Astle's panels seem to be of a far higher quality. This panel cannot be got at that other panel supplier mob. This one is got through Howard Astle. I don't actually know where he gets them from, but he always seems to get the better quality of all the panels. And they also they reshape a few panels that you can get. But this is the better of the two available rear quarter sections. So that one was fairly cheap actually, I reckon. I think it was about $80 or something. And that's got the correct fold in the bottom of it. So we're tackling this. This is a how-to because I'm trying to get more viewers, and I figured if I call it how-to, it might turn up in more search parameters. So we're going to do that. I'm going to walk you through it again, just like I did with the XD, except this time we're doing an XB. Probably way more desirable information. So my workshop seems to have quite a few good cars in it at the moment. None of them are unfortunately mine. Another coupe, that's an XC, that's the XY, and that's the XD. These are some other panels that were got, so I'll just cover that one up slowly. That's the other mob that were their quality of stuff. They don't seem to quality control check their stuff as much as I think they should. These are other panels got by Mr. Astle. These are awesome. These go right there, and if you watch some of my older videos you'll see me fitting them, and I'll be fitting them to this one. They are awesome. And there's that the panel where the rear bumper bar bolts onto. Also, very good. I know that one's made by a chap who runs a company called Better Than Your Old Stock. I don't know how he does it, but his stuff is just, oh my god, it's good. Like, his stuff just fits. And his name, Better Than Your Old Stock, it's better than genuine parts. Well, I don't know if it's better than genuine parts, but it's as good. The stuff just goes straight on. Haven't had any problems with his stuff. Don't even have to modify anything. So I'm hoping that this panel will be like that. So we've got to jack it up, piss that wheel off, put on some stands, and then get into it. Well, first things we're going to do is we set this panel over the top, texture around it, so we have a do not cut past line. Like what I've done here. That is how big the new panel is, the repair panel. So you know never to cut past that, otherwise you'll be hurting yourself. And for my American viewers, there isn't many of you, but there is some, you may recognise this car being the base car that a Mad Max car is made from. So the Mad Max car is an Australian car. It's a Falcon hardtop, one of the beautiful, most stunning designed cars I've ever seen in my life. Like, you can't beat that shape, that window shape. There's nothing like it. And there's nothing prettier than it. Whoever designed that had a really, really sharp pencil. And just, yeah, well, you Americans might recognise the steering wheel being straight over Mustang, but that's what Falcons really are. They're a rebodied Mustang with a much better body. And obviously in Australia we kept them going from, I think in America the Falcon died in about 68, I reckon. In Australia we just kept them coming. And they only recently died in 2017, which was a bit sad, but that's what you do when you keep offshoring all your manufacturing. And, you know, pricing yourself out of the market. But anyway, we'll get stuck into it, eh? We're up to this stage. Car's jacked up, wheels off, wheel nuts are back on the wheel studs, and we get a new pedal. And it is exceptionally far too long. So we know the height. Now, I'll admit, this is the first time I've tackled this particular rust repair panel. I've had a bazillion of the other types, as in the Ixnay and the Airspace panels. So this is the first one of the supposed better ones, and I'll find out later when it's better. So far, it too will require some modification. And no shit, is it too long? But that's a good thing, because we probably want to cut the quarter panel itself. We want to make sure we keep this shape, so we'll probably go to somewhere like, oops, use it as a straight edge. Go to something like that, so that we know we can cut this out, but keep this. So all of this can go. Preferably not. You don't really want to cut out more than you have to. So realistically, depending on how bad it is, it'll probably be actually somewhere like that. But then again, I tend to flow along and go as I please. But at a quick glance, I would say that this end isn't perfect. It too will need to be, it's as if this bit here is too wide from here to here. Now, this car has never been restored. This is its first restoration, so I can tell you this is original. That's rust that's come through for the first time. This car's been doing a whole lot of nothing in its life. So this shape is exactly how it's supposed to be, and this shape is too wide. There's a freaking fair gap here. So when we get close, we'll have to reshape here and here. Usually I just run a slice down here, tap the edge up and then re-weld the edge of it. It seems to be the quickest option. But the bit I cared about the most was the bottom here, because the other one you can buy is just so wrong it's not even funny. So I'm really hoping that this is really nice. I don't mind that this is wrong. That's not exactly the easiest thing to make, but it's almost like they got the other one and modified it at a quick glance, because that looks too much like one of the other panels. That's a theory, I could be wrong, but it does resemble, unless of course they got one of the wagon ones, which I know that company make, which are really long and they're exactly like that in the end. They got one of the wagon ones and modified the bottom of it, which you could do to be correct for a sedan, which seemed to be probably more like what they did, because I reckon a wagon and a ute, they don't have this at all. I reckon it just comes down, it goes flat out. So I think what they've done is got one of those, stuck it in a folder and folded the bottom of it to that shape, which is correct, and then just did a little bit of pinky with a welder there, and then reshaped this corner, which definitely looks reshaped. But that's just one guy who fixed thruster panels to another. That's a suspicion. I could be wrong, but I think I'm probably right on how they've made this, because this is just too similar to the mistakes that are made in the older ones, because I've fitted so many. You just know when you're going to get what you're going to encounter when you encounter them. So that's what this reminds me of. It's like, gee, that's awfully familiar, that looks exactly like one of those ones, but this is right. So maybe they got one of those and did that to it. Still, actually that could make sense, because I reckon those ute ones or the wagon ones are actually a lot cheaper than the sedan ones. And then you do that to it, and then you can sell it for a smidgen more reworked. So, that's a little bit of a rambling, but you know, it's a theory, could be sound. But let's see how it goes. Let's watch. So now we're going to cut, somewhere here, and open up and see how bad the inside of it is. I actually suspect this one's going to be really good. I mean, it's definitely got a hole through it, so the inside bottom of that wheel tub will need to be repaired, but not like some of the ones I've done where it's been completely rotted away. So I think this one will be a nice easy repair. I think that inner has got a rust hole through it, but I probably only need a piece about that big rather than that big. So let's get into it, eh? Outer is off, and albeit, actually, honestly, I had higher hopes for this. I thought that was going to be better than that, but apparently I was wrong. It does happen. I think the last time was a Tuesday. Still plenty to work from. I just need to trim up, see how far. I think that only goes, that rusty bit only goes to about here, so I can trim off the outer wheel arch and make a new bottom that goes on this. I've got to trim off. Trim off. Why is this having such a painful thing to focus these days? Oh, there it goes. Sorry about the thing. The phone is just today. Obviously, the phone woke up at the wrong side of the bed. But yes, got to trim off what's left of the outer quarter panel, which welds on here. And then you got to repair the inside of that after you clean it up. Get all the sealer off. I think we might cut more off than we need. Probably go to here, I reckon, and get a bit taller to get more space. You do get limited on how much room you get to play with by the repair piece, so you got to sort of work with what you got. Bit sad that that's a bit stuffed, but not so bad. At least nobody's played with it before. So yeah, we're going to do it's pretty easy. That piece is just all you do is clean it up, work at it, and it's just so it only rusted out to about here. So it's only goes to about here. You can feel it on the inside, and you just put it. It's just a rectangular piece of tin basically. You weld along there, put it in there, and then clean this piece up, rebuild this, and then you just put the outer on, and it's fairly straightforward. But we'll walk you through it because it is a how-to. You will need some basic tools. Usually an angle grinder is a fair start. I use this cordless Ryobi 1 Kenobi. It's pretty good. Battery life, it certainly likes to use batteries, but it's super convenient because you don't have to worry about a power cord. And it actually seems quieter than a standard angle grinder, and it doesn't spin as fast, just a little bit better in every way. And I think the skin of it was only $100, so you can't go wrong with that. So let's cut a bit more off and get into cleaning it up, because that'll be messy. Luckily it's fairly straightforward. Now we've done some cleaning up, looks a lot better. Yeah, it's rusty, but you know, you get that in the big jobs. So I'm going to grind out the spot welds. I'm going to use a belt sander because I've learnt from experience that yeah, you can drill it out with a spot weld drill bit, but when you hit rust it blunts them so fast, like oh my god fast. You'll kill drill bits just within 10 seconds. And if you hang on, I'll show you. Now I've had plenty of requests over the years of people going, where do you get spot weld drill bits and what do they look like and such and hoo-ha and whatnot. So I'll show you one in a second. Let's see if this turns up on camera. Ooh, look at that. Is it going to work? That's what the packets look like when you open them up. Turn it this way. The top of the drill bit is flat with a point. That's a brand new one. They're like $30 a pop. Now I've got a stack of them because I chew through them really quickly. There's another type that they call spot weld drill bits. Look like a really tiny hole saw. Those are beyond shitness in every way, shape and form. You will never find one of those in any crash shop ever being used by anyone ever. Did I say ever? Nobody uses them, and if you do use them and you can get them to work, good luck to you. But these are the way to go. There's drill bit sharpeners where you can resharpen these. Once you kill one of those hole saw looking ones, that's it, they're dead. They cannot be fixed. I'm sure somebody is going to argue with me about that, but I've encountered so many panel beaters and spray painters and been in so many shops. Nobody uses them ever. They're just shit. So yeah, that's the ones I use. I get them from my crash shop supplier. They can be got. They're not that hard to get. Don't buy the other ones. So right now, I'm going to belt sand using magical belt sander. I had a snap-on one. It lasted 6 years. Did very well. I abused the living snot out of it. But I went for a cheapie this time because I was going to say, let's give the cheapie ones a go. Usually they're not too bad, and the snap-on was obliterated anyway. So that's how I do most removal of spot welds on something that's this rusty. This is the worst bit of the whole job, is undoing it. Once you're putting it together like I did with that XD rear panel, the putting it back together is actually piss easy. So there we go. So another thing why I vote for the belt sander in a job in a particular bit like this, if you were to drill it out with a drill, you're putting a fair bit of force into it, and you can distort and bend rusty panels. Whereas when you use a belt sander, why won't this focus? When you use a belt sander, it is a bit more delicate and tends to, because you just basically just whittling it off, you're not actually wrecking it, so you end up with your piece that you need to be able to copy from not getting stuffed at all. So what we're going to do next is cut this piece off. Focus, you bastard. There we go. Seems the autofocus seems to be saying, no, we're not going to play that today. We're going to do nothing. So yes, we're going to do this same as the XD. I'm going to grind out those spot welds that are through here, because that's the only way to do them. And then we'll run a saw blade through here, zip this off, chuck that through the sandblaster so we can get a damn good look at it, see how stuffed it really is. And when that off, we can actually do this repair real easy. And you've got to remember, there's actually ever so slightly a roll or a fold on the end of this. The very bottom. It sort of tucks around. They're not straight, they're not flat. That actually, whoop, best way to describe it, whoop. It's got a little fold, a little roll on the end of it, so when they're assembling them, they sort of have a bit of an idea where they go. I mean, these cars are not built particularly well. Don't care what anybody says about modern old cars, they're being built well. No, they are not built well. They are usually miles out of alignment. Panels are just stuck higgledy-piggledy. They're usually pretty crap. Modern cars are built 400 times better. Usually with a modern car, you're doing a repair, it either fits or it doesn't. There's just no middle ground with this stuff. You can sort of get away with it being fucking, whoops, excuse my French, you can get away with it being a little bit out and it won't affect it, because they build tolerance into these old cars because the technology wasn't good. So yeah, focus, you bastard. Now stay tuned, it's still a how-to. I hope you're following along. It's going to be a much longer video than normal because we wanted to show you exactly what's involved in fitting one.